What's up, everyone? Zarrell here, and welcome to the Sony Electronic Entertainment Expo E3 2015 recap. I am Zarrell, and I am here to give you the official recap from the Sony's E3 2015 press conference that I just got finished watching 3 minutes ago. I did not get a chance to do this last night with the other ones with Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, and Bethesda, and I do apologize for that, but I had to work, so I gotta hurry up and do this one because I gotta hurry up and get back to work. Now, this was damn near 2 hours of footage that I had to cover because I think they had the longest E3 conference out of anybody, including Square Enix that had one after this. So that's another one I'm gonna have to cover soon. But let's get started. So the conference starts off with a trailer showing a montage of video games, and one thing that caught my attention was that I thought that and I thought it meant something else, but someone in the trailer said my name is Max, and that was one thing that caught myself. One thing that I caught in the trailer, and I figured that they were going to talk something about either Mad Max or maybe like a Max Payne game, which of course they didn't do either. Which I'm surprised they didn't talk about Mad Max at all. But that's pretty much what it was. So starting off, Sean Layden of Sony Computer Entertainment comes out to talk to welcome everyone and explain how developers have been taking advantage of the PS4's hardware to continue to make it the best place to play. And he then goes on to cue for the first game of the press conference a trailer started stating that it has been long awaited by the gaming community. So when the trailer starts, it's just like this starry night, and you see these beams of light shining down, and then out of nowhere you see a feather floating down. Words pop up, directed by Fumito Ueda, and it then goes down to this oversized wing with like white grayish feathers, what looks to be like swords stabbed through it. But then you see this little boy running through this temple, which reminded me of a puzzle platformer on the PS2 that came out years ago. I mean, years and years and years ago. It was a game called if I got it was ICO. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know how the word is pronounced. I think it's um uh, um either ICO or man. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to think of how the name was pronounced, but never mind. Um, I'm trying to hurry up and get through this. Like my mind is racing at like 1,000 times per minute right now. So, but yeah, it reminds me of that game. Um, but anyway, it was about a little boy who had got kicked out of his village for having horns, and he's thrown into a temple, and he has to like fight his way out with this little girl, and you have to, use both of them to solve puzzles and things like that. But anyway, in this trailer, the little boy, he runs out of one of the buildings, and he calls for this giant dog griffin beast creature that comes out and knocks down some columns, and then he calls for him to jump over this large uh, opening over to the other side, and he knocks down some, and he jumps in, and the creature, he collapses one side of the bridge that he jumped over to, and the little boy, he jumps over towards him, and the beast catches him in his mouth, of course, and helps him up. And so the little guy is running, and suddenly the beast starts to roar and screech in a direction, like he is like worried about something, or is like telling him to go somewhere. But I think he was pointing in the direction where the kid was supposed to go. So he goes over, and he goes over to this cart pinwheel structure, and he begins to push it forward, and then the bridge on it, it begins to collapse. So he jumps for the creature again, missing being caught in his mouth for the second time, and he grabs onto his tail. The beast jumps onto a wall where there's a little platform right there. The little boy pushes a log to help the beast climb up and gain some leverage. Then they jump up to safety onto another entrance to the building. The trailer ends there, and the game is revealed to be The Last Guardian, coming in 2016. Next, Shuhei Yoshida comes out sporting a new haircut, by the way. And anytime you see this guy at an Sony E3 conference, you know it's going to be good news. and I don't know. I think that's like their good luck charm. But anyway, he then goes to give credit to the creative director Humito Reita. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Then he introduces from Guerrilla Games Herman Holst, manager and co-director. He comes out to introduce their new franchise. It's important to note that the footage was captured from a PlayStation 4, and the trailer starts and you see someone walking with, alongside some caveman paintings. It was a woman actually, and she's narrating about how the world was changing and how um, you know different tribes came together and how she was a part of the first tribe that hunted and things like that. And then a demo starts where she's on this cliff and she sees this herd of like cybernetic mechanized animals and like beasts. And she's climbing down the cliff, slides down the side of a mountain, and then ends up going into some tall grass. And she ends up being spotted by one of the beasts. Well, the beast recognized there was some movement going on in that direction, so he comes over there, uses his light to scan over there, and before he could call for help, she stabs him in the side, kills him, and proceeds to go on to in hunting a couple of them for whatever resources that she needs them for. So as she's getting close, there's these two large beasts that kind of look like Dinobot and like in like his Dino mode from like Beast Wars, and or more rather Megatron, I would say, from Beast Wars, because they had like two big large guns on their back. But she was over there. She took out two of the little beasts, and as they were running in a direction, coming from that direction that they were running to, that one of the large ones came back, and a fight sequence started. So she's using her arrows to blast away, shoot them. She's sliding underneath them, hitting weak points, and then she uses her arrows to with ropes on them to help to hold them in place and to anchor them down in place. And she exposes a weak point in one of the guns in the back, blows it off, uses it, and then defeats the beast, and that ends the trailer. And it was a game that was called Horizon Zero Dawn. No release date was announced for it. Next up, a game from Square Enix. You see a trailer play with someone jogging through the snow and wilderness, while another montage is playing of a guy living a high life, and you see a bald guy in a suit, with a red tie on. Anybody who knows anything about this game knows who that is. That's Agent 47. It was revealed that the game is Hitman. And no release date was announced for it, so they're remaking Hitman, it seems. Next up, Assad Kizilbash. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. It's a lot of last names here that I just, like, they're foreign to me, so I didn't really remember how they were pronounced. But next up, Assad Kizilbash comes out to explain more about the game, and he states that there will be a beta for those who pre-order the game. He then cues for the next title that is a console exclusive, Street Fighter V, introducing two new characters for the game, Cammy. So they're bringing Cammy to Street Fighter V, as well as Birdie from the Street Fighter Alpha series. So Birdie has not been seen in a Street Fighter game for a long time. And for those of you who don't know who Birdie is like a biker gang black guy with like this mohawk. So and he did like a couple of his moves where it's like his little chain lick thing, and he did his little headbutt, so it's good to see him making a return. And they announced that the beta for the game starts July 23rd, and for those who have pre-ordered the game, he then introduces Sean Murray of Hello Games to demo a game called No Man's Sky, which is a Universal Sandbox style game that they showcased at last year's E3, and to demo how vast this universe is, he zooms out of the galaxy that he's currently in, and you see like a big war going on between two giant fleets. But anyway, he zooms out, and he just keeps going and going, and every star that's there is like another solar system that you can explore. He even goes on to emphasize that everybody's not going to be able to even visit all the worlds that they have in there, because they literally put so much time in and created so many universes that they really outdid themselves. sorry, phone started beeping. But yeah, they really outdid themselves with it. And you know, Zero Man Sky, a release date will be announced soon. He said it was even a part of the demo where he warped to like a random location that he never been to. He warped down to one of the planets, and he said that every environment in there is, every planet has some structures that can be destroyed. And he pulls out a gun, he blasts it, and then a sentinel comes his way to try to stop him from even being there, or to try to kill him. And he runs through a field where there's like different animals on that planet, and then he goes to a beacon and uses like a scanner to scan the animals and make records of them. And I don't know how that's going to come into play with the game, but it looks pretty fun. And No Man's Sky, it's coming soon, he said, but a release date will be announced soon. And Assad comes back out to compliment the game and cue the next game. Alan Evans from Media Molecule, the studio that brought you Tearaway and Little Big Planet, comes out to talk about this new game utilizing dreams, and explains how dreams inspired this game. How you can be walking in the street one moment, and then you can be in water the next moment. He then cuts to a montage of being able to draw up your own dreams and create stories, and what seems to be even movies from this game. Like, you're able to draw different stories and even movies with your controller. So it looks great in my opinion. I think there is a target audience for it. If not, then there will be one now. How many of us have wanted to draw up our own short films and action movies, anime characters using anime drawings, but we don't have the like thousands of dollars in technology to do so. Well, it seems like they're bringing that ability in the form of a video game. So the name of the game is Dreams, so you guys can look it up and check it out for yourself. And I can see a lot of great short films being made and drawn with that video game. So Assad comes back out to talk about another game called Firewatch, created by the storytellers of Campo Santo. It's set in the Wyoming wilderness, and your only lifeline is a woman on a radio, and it will make its debut on the PS4. A trailer plays, and you see a person traveling, in the wilderness, guided by a woman on a voice on the radio, and he discovers that he isn't the only one in the wilderness anymore. When one of the power lines he finds cut, and no release date has been announced for that game. Adam Boyes comes out to talk about Sony's partners, Activision and Bungie, and to speak more about Destiny. He then cues for the next big adventure of Destiny, a trailer where you hear a voice say that, King Oryx is coming for you, Guardian, on revenge because you killed his son in a past Destiny DLC expansion, I guess. But I believe it's a new Destiny DLC called The Taken King, coming September 15th, 2015. But on the website it shows that it's on disc, and it's part of a legendary edition with all of the past DLC expansions on them. So I don't know if you'll be able to buy the Taken King separately as like a separate DLC for like a current for those who already have Destiny, which I believe you should be able to do, or if you have to buy the legendary edition to do it, which I think would be stupid. But that remains to be seen, because they didn't announce whether or not you can buy it separate. So I'm not 100% sure, but I can only guess that they would allow you to. Next, he cues for a trailer for Assassin's Creed Syndicate, showcasing another character, the older sister of Jacob, the main character of the game. Her name is Evie, and while he takes more of a like an in-your-face approach, she's more elegant, that they say. And they show her going around being stealthy, in the typical Assassin's Creed style, using her cane sword and her throwing knives, which is her weapons, as well with the hidden blades to take out her targets. And Adam then announces that you will be able to play some special missions known as the Dreadful Crimes exclusively on PlayStation 4, where you can play as either Jacob or Evie. So Adam then proceeds to queue for a Final Fantasy game, and you see these chibi characters running around, in the lands, taking place in a world called Grimoire. and you're able to change your size to benefit you in many ways. Whether you want to ride on the back of your monsters, or you want to have them, ride on the back of you, or basically to help aid in the combat with the game. And so it was announced that the name of the game is called World of Final Fantasy, coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita 2016. And then goes on to speak on Square Enix releasing a groundbreaking title, releasing another game that was a groundbreaking title years ago that went on to become one of those most beloved games in the history of video games. And in PlayStation, he then announces a very special treat for everyone, and the crowd going crazy. And, when the trailer plays, you see some familiar armor and weaponry and some familiar people. First, you see it's a black guy with a minigun for an arm, and you see this blonde-haired guy with a Buster Sword on his back. And a familiar Final Fantasy emblem appears, and the words "Remake" appear on the screen, and the crowd goes ballistic. And Adam then states that it's Final Fantasy VII coming first to the PlayStation 4. No release date has been announced, but they are remaking the game Final Fantasy VII. Now, this is good for me. Quick little short story. Final Fantasy VII was the first Final Fantasy game I played, and at the time I wasn't familiar with any Japanese RPGs, that were like Final Fantasy. I wasn't used to like this time meter to where you had to wait in order to perform actions. I was more used to like turn-based combat, like games like Shining Force on the Sega Genesis. That's still my favorite RPG ever. But it's good to know if they're remaking it, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do, and because I couldn't get past that mechanized scorpion in Final Fantasy VII. Like, I was that bad at a Final Fantasy game, it was crazy, and that was the first boss in there too. But payback is a bitch, because I'm gonna whip his ass this time. Okay, whatever. But yeah, no release date has been announced for that, so they must have just started remaking it. He then announces 4 new games from Devolver Digital, an indie game developer or an indie game distributor. They didn't really say. There's Ronin, which is like a hack and slash platformer. There's a game called I don't know how to pronounce that. It's EITR. I think it's called A-Eater, or I don't know how to pronounce that. But it's like a 2.5-bit style game. A 2.5/8-bit style type of game. There's Mother Russia Bleed, which is like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, kind of like Streets of Rage and Final Fight. And Crossing Souls, which is a game like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I don't know if anybody remembers that game from Sega Genesis, but it has like some cartoon cutscenes and some action in it. It looks cool. And so, yeah, Adam then talks about Kickstarter and how games have been helpful in making some great games for the consoles, and then he cues for a trailer for a game fans have been asking for very, very many years and have been very vocal about. And you see Shizuki, the creator of the game series Shizune, and there are always 2 parts. There was always 2 parts to the game, and part 2 has some unanswered questions, and it kind of left people with like a cliffhanger. And he states that even in the trailer, that the game wasn't finished, like the story wasn't finished. And you then states that no matter where he was going, people always asked him, when will the next Shemune be released. So he came out to announce the Kickstarter for it. Google Kickstarter, Save Shizune, Shemune, Shemu, SHENMUE, Save Shemu, to visit their Kickstarter and I guess see how you can help. Next up, Adam then brings out, he brought up the promo. Adam then takes a list out to go over the games that he is already going over, and then he cues for a game coming out next week, which is Batman Arkham Knight. And you see a trailer played, a cop walks into a diner, and that's the start of a joke right there. And this guy taps him on the shoulder and tells him that there's a guy smoking in a booth. And the cop goes over there to check, and it looks like the guy was injected with like Scarecrow's fear serum or something like that. But it was announced that it is Batman Arkham Knight, and it's announced for PS4, and we'll have exclusive Scarecrow missions. Next, Andrew House comes out to talk about Project Morpheus, which is a virtual reality headset for the PlayStation 4. Behind him, you see several games being developed for Morpheus already. Couldn't get the name of all of them. He goes on to talk about how PlayStation Music and PS View, and how they are already in several cities nationwide, in Philly, New York, and Chicago, and they're launching in San Francisco and Los Angeles as of right now. Um, and also in July, you will be able to purchase individuals channels through PlayStation View without having to subscribe to like a multi-channel bundle using the Alucard service. If I have that name right, will be like a PlayStation TV service, launching with Fox, Soccer, Showtime, and Machinima from YouTube, the gaming channel on YouTube. They'll be getting their own channel on there as well. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be crazy. But yeah, and if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, then you get a discount on what you buy on there. So that's nice. Then he goes on the queue for Black Ops 3, and Mark Lamia from Treyarch comes out to talk about the game and how they're building a better online experience as well with the main campaign. Because for a long time, Black Ops games, well, any Call of Duty game, the main campaign has always been overlooked because the focus has always been on the multiplayer. But they're saying they're focusing on the main campaign this time around more often than they have. In the demo, like you see guys, trying to save pilots from a crash on the side of a building. The front of the plane falls down while he's trying to save the guy. Of course, he dies in the process, and then they proceed to a big gunfight. And one thing to note, that during the demo, you see a bunch of like screens. First, you see like a main screen that has that main player that they're focusing on, and then underneath them is like the 4-player mini screen. So I don't know if that's maybe like a spectator mode, or maybe that's just something that you can do in the main campaign, just playing solo, or maybe even with online co-op, and you'll be able to like view to see what's going on with your teammates. I don't know if that's something. So maybe that's something they just did for E3, or maybe that's something you can actually do in the game. But I don't know. So next up, David Vonderhaar of Treyarch comes out and cues for a trailer. I didn't mention anything about a release date for Black Ops 3. I think they might have one, or they're releasing it soon, or I just missed it. But I don't think they have. But I didn't hear anything about a release date for Black Ops 3. But next up, David Vonderhaar of Treyarch comes out and cues for a trailer for the multiplayer, and it looks like Cyborg. Well, it's of Black Ops 3, of the online multiplayer in Black Ops 3, and you see a bunch of cyborg power suits, and looks like you might be able to even vanish through walls and reappear on the other side, like some type of like short range teleportation maybe. I don't know if they're allowing you to do that in the game, but I did see one of the characters do that, so that's to be noted. And Andrew comes back out to announce that PS4 owners will be able to play all of the multiplayer maps first. In addition, they will be able to play Black Ops 3 beta this August for pre-ordering the game. So he then cues for some more games coming to PlayStation 4, and a trailer montage plays, and you see games like Until Dawn, and you even see games like Deus Ex, games that they didn't even speak on during the press conference. By the way, Sean Layton comes back out to talk about Star Wars Journey Disney Infinity 3.0 for kids and family, and then a guy, I can't remember his name, like I didn't get his name. He comes out to talk about a couple of new additions being added to Disney Infinity 3.0, and there's a limited edition coming out that are going to include 2 of the packs, including an exclusive character for the bundle that they have in that pack. He comes out to talk about Twilight of the Republic and the Rise of the Empire starter packs, and a limited edition Star Wars pack that will have both of those expansions, or I'm assuming that they are expansions. But they have 2 of those expansions, as well as an exclusive character that's only going to come with the limited edition pack. Excuse me, Boba Fett, and you'll be able to play it before the holidays. That's all. That's the only information that he gave before the holidays. So they didn't have a definitive release date, but it's going to be before the holidays. So Sean Layton comes out and talks more about Star Wars Battlefront and brings out Patrick Bach of DICE to speak more about the game and the different types of uh, game, different types of ways you can approach the game, and different types of game modes that they're going to have you play during the main campaign. And I wasn't able to get all of them, but there was like a hero mode where you can play as iconic characters like Darth Vader and like Anakin Skywalker. There's like the ground fighter mode where you'll be, as like soldiers with some AI allies. There's modes where you can play as a TIE fighter, as the walkers, things like that. And they even had a survival mode, which they shown, you crash land on a planet and then you have to survive and wait for your help to come. So that's cool. Sean Layton then comes out one final time to queue for one final game, coming out only on PlayStation, and you see Nathan Drake and this old man opening up a door, and they go out into the open with a market with people dancing and socializing. It did take a minute for the demo to actually start playing, and they even had to restart it in order to get it to work properly. So that's to be noted. They had like one final mess up at the end, and when they did, you see Nathan Drake and the old man working together to take out these bandits, blasting guns, jumping off and running through buildings to get in the way, just running through the terrain, and then they jump into a jeep to escape this truck that has a gun on the back of it, trying to kill him, and they're racing towards this one tower that they seen in a distance when they first started off. And they finally get down there and trying to catch up to their friend, and in the meantime, like the demo ended. Like they didn't even get, I don't even think they got to him in the demo. But it was Uncharted 4 coming to PS4, Thief's End, no release date announced, and that ended the conference. So made this just in time. I gotta get up out of here, man. I gotta head to work, but I'm glad I was able to do this under 30 minutes. Covering 2 hours of content over 30 minutes is not an easy task, but nevertheless, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the recap. A lot of games I'm excited for, especially Final Fantasy VII Remake, Uncharted 4, Shemune. I'm hoping that they are able to make that game happen, because I'm interested in seeing what the third installment is going to be like, as well as Black Ops 3. I never even liked Black Ops, but the way that they showed what they had at E3, it might get me into it, as well as the other games that they announced. So I'm looking forward to everything that Sony has to offer in the future. Thank you guys for watching this recap, and I will see you guys for other recaps in the future. Until then, peace.